Hello and welcome to the June 2024 wrap-up. My name is Peter Schneider. I am here in the studio with Nick Huston.
Howdy.
And in Atlanta at Gotham ATL, TK Edmondson. Hi, TK.
Hello.
All right. I like that.
You want to do the Itsy Bitsy Spider next?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, look, as we're recording this, early in the wee hours of the morning, we got news. Tentative agreement reached, West Coast locals and national IA locals as well have reached an agreement with the AMPTP. So this is good news.
This is good news, yeah.
Potentially good news, yeah.
Yeah, tentative agreement still has to be ratified, but you know,
Yes.
as of the filming of this, which will give you an idea of when it was filmed, tentative. So you know, cross fingers and toes, and keep on keeping on.
That's right.
Well, I guess we'll get started with the wrap up. Other than that big news, Lectrosonics has released new firmware for the DCR822 that allows the DCR822 to work in mode 7, which is compatible with Q5X player mic transmitters. So that's pretty big. Like with the Lectrosonics older receivers, the 411s, the 401s, the SRCs had all these wonderful compatibility modes that allowed it to cross-homogenate with other transmitters, now being ported over to their digital receivers with the DCR822. So if you're going to do the update, make sure you follow all the instructions. Install the super firmware first. Put the cape on, then install the new firmware that'll allow this compatibility. You know, there are some caveats that if you are using it with Mode 7, there are no digital modes available. So just make sure you follow the instructions.
Are there other caveats in general with compatibility mode in Electro? Like, do you get all the battery telemetry from the transmitter?
No, generally speaking, not. You know, it's about the decryption of the compander and not necessarily the data that the proprietary data that comes from the transmitter. So generally speaking, like you're going to get your levels, you're going to get your sound. It's going to come through. And it would be better quality than if it was just a standard FM receiver open.
Got it.
But it's not going to give you the same kind of data as if you were using the proprietary receiver.
The native receiver.
Right. Yeah,
Got it.
exactly.
All right. RFNU announced a bunch of new products. I'm excited about these new products because a lot of them come with native 12-volt DC inputs, which is great for our industry. They have the Spectrum recorder, which is really very exciting. It's a box that can sit, and its sole function is to gather information about the RF spectrum in the environment that it's sitting in and store it and report it. It can be connected over the web. You can access it locally as a data source. Really, really very excited. A network-connected RF spectrum analyzer. Very cool.
Very cool.
The distro HDR antenna and power distribution platform for any brand of wireless microphone system. Distro 5 HDR is that model number. And the combined 6 HDR, which allows the combination of 6 IEM transmitters. So those are all three available now. Really exciting products.
Great. And the cops are coming to get us.
Yes. That's how great this news is.
All right, Zaxcom has some bundles available, and this is kind of a big deal. So this is going on until July 7th, but you can get up to $1,000 off on a Nova 2 recorder with the internal 4-channel RX module with that. If you want to beef it up a little more, you can do up to $3,000 off a Nova 2 recorder with the 4-channel module as well as ZMT4s to go along with that. You can also get a free GUI bridge with the TRX CLI, the camera link, and yeah, that also will come with 5 either URX 50s or URX 100s. So this is a pretty crazy deal from Zaxcom. So if you are looking to get into their ecosystem, this is a great thing to take advantage of. It's still going on until the 7th.
And if you want to say the word GUI more often, this is a great way to do it because I think that is a great word that is underplayed.
GUI.
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 I have to say,
yeah,
I'm a big fan of the GUI bridge.
Yeah.
I dig it. I understand what it's about. It's running on a Raspberry Pi if you haven't seen it before. But what that opens up is the possibility that any web browser can access it. And really, any web browser anywhere in the world can access it.
Yeah.
It's nice. They've really refined it, too, since they first introduced it.
Yeah, the GUI bridge is GUI-rific. Gooey.
Gooey.
Nice.
Moving on.
Moving on. New from PSC is the PowerStar Mini II. It's like the PowerStar Mini 1, but 2. So for real, though, it features 5 power outputs with individual power filtering and polyfuse protection. It's got USB on the top that can supply up to 2 amps of current. It's $275.50, and it is available for order now.
Nice.
Yeah. Good job from PSC.
New from Wisycom is the CSI 16T2 combiner. This is a passive transmit combiner with a brain. So the RF combining is passive, but the brain part knows how many Wisycom transmitters are hooked up to it and can communicate to those Wisycom transmitters to adjust the Wisycom transmitter's output power accordingly to compensate for the losses as it goes through the transmit combiner. So this always sort of blows me away when I think about this, that a proper transmit combiner, there's a lot of loss. And the idea is that in like traditional transmit combiners, each input has its own RF amplifier to overcome the total system loss. So this approach is very different. This approach, because it's designed to work with Wisycom transmitters, can kind of tell the Wisycom transmitter to up its power accordingly. It's very interesting. So rather than needing like an individual RF amplifier for each input, which increases the power and potential for intermod combining, this can actually get the transmitter itself to up the power. Obviously, that's a kind of proprietary design, but when you're using it in the Wisycom ecosystem, it's really a fantastic solution.
And it hurts my head, the idea of how it's doing that and the calculations and all that stuff. Like it's pretty...
It's impressive.
Yep.
Color me impressed. So it does all of that communication inside of Wisycom brand, but will it work with other transmitters?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It can combine transmitters from any manufacturer, but then it becomes just standard losses associated with either a 16-to-1 or 8-to-1 combiner, which would be pretty substantial.
Yeah.
The NPR52 is available again from Wisycom. This is an ENG battery-powered AA receiver, 2 channels, TA5 out, along with a headphone. And this thing goes all the way up to like 1.2 gigs. So it's just like a really, really great utilitarian analog receiver. So yeah, if you're looking to add one of these into your ecosystem, reach out. We can get that on order for you now.
And great for the ENG world as well. The news people that want to have a camera hop, or they want to have 2 channels straight to camera. I mean, it's like this big. It's the size of basically a body pack transmitter. So to have that on the camera guys love a tiny transmitter or a tiny receiver.
There you go. These things are tiny, like you said, and super great to use.
New firmware is available for the Ambient Nanolockit. The logging feature is now compatible with Frame.io, so you can use your Nanolockit, push the buttons to log things for script supervisors, and it'll go automatically into the Frame.io cloud, which is pretty cool. Available now for download.
Very cool. Yeah, love it. I've always wished on a set, the script supervisor, the sound department, and the camera department all share the same metadata network. I think that for me is a dream.
Yeah. Yep.
And post-production by extension.
Peak efficiency.
Speaking of peak efficiency, Clearcom released their 3.0 firmware for the Arcadia, which has a whole bunch of new features that are very, very cool for that ecosystem. First off, capacity greatly expanded. Support for 64 FreeSpeak belt packs, depending on the license that you have for the Arcadia. Connectivity for 32 FreeSpeak IP transceivers. So really, really like a lot of zones with different varying densities are possible. Accommodation for 128 HelixNet user stations. And my personal favorite features now fold in WAN connectivity, meaning there's a whole app that you can use with the FreeSpeak system that can talk to their cloud. It can talk to their LQ series of connected devices, all now built into the Arcadia itself. over IP.
Wow.
So it's really like you can really build a very powerful ecosystem. If you want to check out the app, you can look for Agent IC online. That's the name of the ClearCom app. And now it can talk to Arcadia directly.
Cool.
Or through the cloud,
Or
which
through
is
the
amazing.
cloud.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite things about calling ClearCom is they have somebody. They have somebody that did their voicemail recording, and whenever you call, they're just like, "Ask us about HelixNet." You know, we call it HelixNet. You'll call it WoW, and that this is also very WoW.
This is WoW.
This is WoW. Yeah.
All right, we have some exciting news. Schoeps CMD42 is starting to ship. To be clear, this is not in stock right now, but the lead times are much improved. And just be clear, this is also a digital mic body for the Colette modular system. So if you have any of those existing capsules, you can just throw those right onto this body and keep it moving into the digital world of zeros and ones. Again, if you are interested in this, it is a few weeks away, but give us a shout and we'll get one on order for you.
Yeah, and the first orders for us have come in and shipped, and the feedback has been largely positive. I mean, people are excited. It works with the A20 transmitter.
Yes.
In AES mode, you can hardwire an AES. It works with the Zaxcom TRX 743 or 745 now. So it's an exciting venture into the world of zeros and ones, as TK said.
Shout out to Simon Hayes at Simon Hayes Sound for really talking about the beta use of this back when it was in beta. It's exciting to go from moving air immediately right after the capsule to numbers, and you stay in numbers for the whole rest of the signal chain until it gets to moving air in the movie theater.
Boy, that mind blown.
Well, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What a world. Appsys is a company that is, I think, a little bit under the radar for a lot of production sound mixers, but they are a very cool company, small company out of Switzerland that makes really great gearboxing kind of products. So the Flexiverter are a series of products that can convert one format of digital audio to another format, and they're super flexible. Typically, you get the Flexiverter model. That's your main digital format, so they have ones for Dante and a whole bunch of other ones. And then there's an aux card that would fit in the other end of that little Flexi module. And so they now have Dante to AES3, so you can go, AES to Dante. There's a whole bunch of other ones, Ravenna, Maddie for sure. And what's unique about this particular line of products are that it now includes sample rate conversion. And this is really aimed at facilities and mobile recording, like large track recording. You need to convert from their digital format to your digital format. You don't necessarily want to be tied to their clock. And so that's where the sample rate conversion comes in handy.
Gosh, imagine if we had that when we did Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean, I think about all of those early days of the rigs that we built. There's so many more options
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I could use this at home instead of playing stuff at 48 off the computer because my whole studio is at 96.
Oh, I thought you were going to like feed the kids in digitally and have them come out on a different format.
They are in the Dante chain, so we've incorporated this.
Boom. Knew it.
They will be 24 bits before you know it.
Now available is Mepitac Tape. They have this available in 2 different widths. So you can get this in a 0.8 inch or a 1.6 inch. And yeah, we sell this in single rolls. This thing, it's great to stick onto skin. It really works well with the contours of the body. Doesn't leave any residue when you remove it. So if you've got an application where you need to stick something directly onto someone's skin and then put a lavalier mic onto that from there, this is a great solution. So Mepitac is now available, 2 sizes.
Speaking of the great state of New Hampshire, just kidding. So that's where I'm from. I was really pleased to find out that there is a company called Wireless Mic Belts based in New Hampshire. And they make pouches and straps or straps with pouches that can go, that can hold all sorts of different transmitters, but specifically Q5X introduced us. And so the Q5X transmitters, the player mic, the Aqua mic, they're kind of odd sizes for what we do, but they specifically make those for that. They're available now.
Nick, I don't know if you noticed at Infocom, but there were a lot of pictures of Wisycom and DPA microphones holding hands.
You know, I noticed that they were kind of looking at each other from across the aisle at NAB, which that was maybe telling. Do you have news, some hot gossip for us?
Well, I think in the tradition of modern romance, they have formed a strategic alliance.
Oh.
And they are consolidating their U.S. operations to the mountains of Colorado.
Interesting. Right next to NORAD.
Yes.
I love that, though. Commitment.
That must be it. Yes.
No more situationships.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So largely, this isn't going to change anything for, it changes how we interact with Wisycom and DPA, but it's not going to change very much for how the customers interact with Wisycom and DPA. All of the Wisycom emails for support are going to forward to DPA, but they will be handled from Colorado.
By the Wisycom people in the U.S. that we know and love.
Correct.
Currently.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Now that they have this strategic partnership, aka holding hands, there may be some exciting collaborations coming down the pipe, but that remains to be seen. New from Boom Buddy is the Cable Buddy. I love when things have buddy on the end. It makes me... Do you remember in the 80s there was a doll called like My Buddy?
I do not remember that.
Well, there was.
All right.
Just look it up.
It happened.
These, however, the new Cable Buddies, are pretty neat cable holders for your bag, for your cart. They've got multiple sizes from extra small to extra large to help hold various things, whether it's cables, headphones, however. They can be hung on a hook, they can be clipped onto a bag, and pretty flexible. So check out the website. They're available now for order, and if that's something you need, then you can get it.
Allen and Heath CQ mixers. These are digital mixers from Allen Heath. They released them late last year, but they are getting some love in the form of firmware update 1.02. You now get DCA groups, mute groups, custom configurable layer. Yeah, it gives you 4 tabs, so there's a theme here of 4 groups, 4 mute groups. So yeah, it's tons of functionality has been added, but the real cool thing here in terms of location sound is you can now control this remotely via MIDI, and that gives you control over the levels, soft keys, mutes, pan, bounces. And then if you're really into it, they have this thing called Boombox, and you can do this all wirelessly. So there's some really, really, really cool updates.
Audioroot BH2 dual smart battery holder. Yeah, it is a dual battery holder combiner with a DTAP, and it's got a output 4 TA4 smart device input. So you can use two of the smart batteries into like Sound Devices 8 series, for example. It'll get the full battery telemetry. Very, very, very cool.
Yeah, and it'll also output Hiroshi for use with their power distros. Provide the telemetry, and having with the amount of power that things can drain these days, having 2 batteries just to hot swap is really nice. And they do have cups, like standalone cups that'll do this, but this is a different form factor, and some people will prefer the security that comes with sliding all the way in.
Very, very practical. Yes.
Slide into the DMs.
Nice and low pro too.
So Klover MiK has announced an update to their Klover MiK 16. So Klover Microphones is the kind of the name in parabolic microphones. So those people that are running around the sidelines of sports balls, foosballs and soccer balls and all of those, like the guys that run around with the big dishes. Those are highly directional microphones, or rather microphone setups that are designed to really focus in on the action across the field from a long way away. So anyway, Klover MiK has made an update to their 16. So all future handheld versions will be built with a deeper dish, so that'll give a tighter pickup pattern, but then future stationary models will continue to be built with the original dish, which will give a slightly wider pickup pattern. So Klover, awesome that they're the name, and they're still continuing to improve and push past their limits.
Yes. And now it is time for one of my favorite segments, which is called Tip of the Month. GH7 is a camera, DSLR, Panasonic DSLR that just was announced, I think a couple of weeks ago, and it has some very interesting audio features. It can do either 4 channels of audio, which, to be fair, there's a couple of other cameras of that size that can do that as well. Or it can go into a mode that does 2 channels of audio at 32-bit float. And to my knowledge, this is the first time we're seeing 32-bit float audio recording in a camera, which I think is very, very interesting for the one-person bands out there that, you know, don't have the ability to really change the audio levels on the fly necessarily. This gives them the ability to not have to worry about changing audio levels.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, especially for, yeah, like you said, the one-person bands. You know, they want to plug an external microphone in or even just use what they have on there to not have to worry about the levels. Because how hard is that? Like, it's hard enough to worry about the levels when you're just worrying about the levels.
Yeah, and to be clear, I think our official position is hire a sound person.
Yes.
That's what a sound person is for. But the reality is that people will always try and do this. And so, yeah, I think 32-bit float is an interesting feature.
Absolutely. This is going to sound pretty basic to some people, but it's something that when I was a young man about 400 years ago, kind of blew my mind, and that is to try a hypercardioid. And when I say try a hypercardioid, I don't just mean like try a hypercardioid on a sit-down interview or try a hypercardioid indoors, but like try a hypercardioid outdoors. You know, I learned this on a day where like I didn't have a shotgun microphone, like I was borrowing equipment and I just couldn't get one. So I used a hypercardioid outdoors on the West Side Highway, and I was shocked at how well it worked and how great it sounded. So, you know, I think that, you know, when people a lot of times think about just having the Swiss Army knife of the shotgun and then, you know, oh, should I get a better shotgun? In some situations, try a hypercardioid, see what happens.
I love that tip, and I echo that. When I was a young lad mixing second unit of Sopranos, there was a scene that we were doing. It was an intimate scene, but it was outside. It was, you know, low talking, but it was pretty close. And I put on the Pole 416 microphone, and the great Andy Schmetterling, boom operator, now videocyst, he said, you know, I think a hyper is better. And I had the same, you know, kind of like misgivings. And the way he explained it to me was, think about where the capsule is in a shotgun. You know, it's behind the interference tube. And think about where the capsule is in a hypercardioid. It's you know, literally just a few inches behind the front of the mic. And so you're physically getting the capsule of the mic much closer. Plus, you know, the shotgun doesn't necessarily have the most linear of responses, and it's got some sensitivity out the back and stuff. And yeah, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So try a hypercardioid.
Great tip.
Nice. And for me, it's now summer, so my tip would be to drink lots of water, stay inside, but also to be open to trying new things. Not so specific as Nick with the hypercardioid, but just be open to trying new things. I've had I won't get into detail, but a little bit of an adventure in the last, let's say, 2 weeks, kind of leading into Juneteenth, where I've had to just kind of say yes and be open to trying new things. So it applies to all things in life, not just sound.
I love that.
Yeah. That feels very much like we should go into the mountains and meditate. And I mean that in a very positive, like, energy kind of way. One other thing to look out for coming soon from Gotham will be our RF over fiber video. We did a RF over fiber shootout, trying BSRF's RF over fiber system in a bag on the streets of Astoria in like 100-degree weather. It was very bright. It was very hot. And yeah, but stay tuned for that. It's an interesting comparison video.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Couple of announcements before we go. We are closed Thursday, July 4th, which is Independence Day in the United States. We're open on Friday, July 5th for a very special occasion called
Franks with Franklin. So for people that have not come to the New York store, our rental manager, Matt Tenero, has a dog named Franklin. And if you look at the website, you can see him wearing a hot dog outfit, which is very adorable. He will not be being eaten, but we'll have all sorts of hot dog-esque treats for people and little side dishes and whatnot. And you know, Frank will be wearing his hot dog outfit. So come to New York, Atlanta. Franklin will be in New York.
We've been looking into getting a Ben Franklin impersonator. So if you're in Atlanta, look forward to that. And we're just gonna maybe have a Liberty Bell that everyone can ring per choice.
Ding ding.
Excellent. Well, thank you for watching. See more videos at gothamsound.tv. Follow us on social media. And as always, if you have ideas for live streams, let us know at info@gothamsound.com. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, TK. Great to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks for watching.
Boy, the outtakes reel on this one's going to be a fun one.
I'm going to get in so much trouble.
Buddy Love. Yeah, that was his name. Yeah, Jerry Lewis's Buddy Love.
And they called it Buddy Love.
Yeah, I've also been sleeping with high frequency, but I said I wasn't going to go too in depth here.
I'm not your buddy guy. I'm not your guy friend.
RF Venue. No, wait.
R. Ah.
The famous pirate company.
RF Venue, based out in Massachusetts, and they be plundering the 7 seas.
Nick, what's a polyfuse?
It's a fuse.
That believes in multiple relationships at the same time.
So 2024.
Moving on, running on empty.
Peak efficiency.
And handmade in the White Mountains.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, these are handmade?
Yeah, in the White Mountains. Yo. I made that up just so we know.
I mean, they must use a sewing machine.
I'm sure, yes, but you still need hands to use the sewing machine. I don't know if you've noticed about. It's not like go machine. Go forward and sew me a button.
Bang bang, cowboy.
Bang bang. No, none of this makes sense.
It's a stupid fucking name.
Now we gotta cut it.